unusual experience because I'm not used to seeing a lot of family and friends in the crowd. And so here's anything that was not hilarious, I blame it on them because I usually, when they're not at shows, it goes great. So when most of this show I felt very pleased with. However, the parts that did not, I feel like I attribute that to my family and friends for having been kind of freaked me out just a little bit.
All right, coming to the stage now is a man who you have seen on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, not once, not twice, but 0 times. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hand together for Mr. Clayburn Cox.
The other day I went outside and I got bit. I was barefoot for one thing, and I got bit by a big old fat ant. And it was Aunt Peggy. We're kind of doing a thing here. I love Aunt Peggy because she used to teach me all those old Alabama sayings, like an apple a day will not keep a doctor away, but a restraining order will. Don't kill your chickens because those chickens might not, they're probably not even your chickens. They might be wild chickens or they might be somebody else's chickens. If you're illiterate, you have to judge a book by its cover. I think probably the stupidest song that I've ever heard is Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, How I Wonder What You Are. There's a star, like you just said that. I started a hotline for people who struggle with incompletion. Just 1-800. Back when I was growing up, we've gotten better now, but this is true when I was growing up. We ranked 49th in education. And I told my school teacher, and she said, "Who got 4010th?" I told that Mississippi they didn't get it. I used to get a lot of A's on my report card. They were all up at the top. Where's Alabama? Sometimes I got 5 or 6 because they spelled it wrong. I just sat at my desk and sucked at sunflower seeds. So I was pretty disappointed when somebody else in my class got voted most likely to succeed. My mom used to send me to therapy every time I ever argued with any of my brothers. Probably because I'm an only child. Y'all remember those old commercials for sure deodorant? Y'all remember that? Raise your hand if you're sure. My mom used to buy me perhaps deodorant. Their slogan was, "Perhaps you should keep your arms down." And trust me, the expiration date on the bottom of deodorant is there for a reason. If you eat it after that, you will get sick. Let me ask you, sir. I see you look kind of familiar to me. What is your name?
Trey.
Trey? Okay, well, I'm not super interested anymore. However, here's the thing. You look like a guy, one of my old roommates from like back at Auburn. And I just remember one time, okay, we had to share a bathroom. And there was other roommates in there, but I had to share my bathroom with one. And for one night, I don't know why he put his toothbrush in my toothbrush cup. And like he had his own toothbrush cup. So why did he put it? I don't know why he put it in my, it bothered me. And so I wrote on a Post-it note, my toothbrush is vastly superior to your toothbrush. And I put it up on the mirror. Well, apparently he didn't appreciate that. And so he drew a picture of little muscular arms and taped them to his toothbrush. And he laid my toothbrush out flat, so it looked like his toothbrush had like knocked out my toothbrush. No, you don't. So I took off the little muscular arms and I taped on 2 little scrawny Q-tip arms. And then I snapped one of the Q-tips, homeboy, right? So then he got dental floss and he hung my toothbrush from the towel rack. No. You can mess with me, but you don't mess with my toothbrush, and you don't, that's basically it. You just don't mess with it, right? And so then I got a sharp kitchen utensil and I gave it to my toothbrush, and I laid his toothbrush in a pool of ketchup. So how's that? How you like them out? Well then, so he stopped up the water in the sink and he put my toothbrush face down in the water, and his was just peering over the ledge. So then I started up a Facebook page for my toothbrush, and I didn't even give his toothbrush any type of social media, so it looked like his toothbrush didn't even have a life. My wife, she's wonderful. She's here somewhere tonight. Where is my wife? There she is. Give a big hand to my wife. Everybody, please. My kids are back there. Y'all give a hand to my kids. Everybody, thank you. They're about 10, 12 miles back. They're still at home, so. My wife is great, and I love her so much, but sometimes she asks me weird questions, and I don't know how to deal with them. Like the other night, I'm not making this up, she said, Clayburn, would you still love me if I had a third eye? What? She said, would you still love me if I had 3 eyes on my face? I was like, baby, you know I love you, but we cannot afford that kind of surgery right now. Just to reinforce how much I love my wife, I decided to write her a little song. Would you mind? I don't have the boombox. Could you just come and hold the mic for me while I do a little song? Thank you. Give a big hand for this gentleman. I would love you if you had a third eye. It'd be cool to watch you cry. I'd still think you were beautiful as I stared into your trial. Thank you. Thank you. So, okay, while you're holding this and while I have some type of a problem, I'll tell you, I don't play video games very often, but are you still comfortable up here? So I don't care. Okay, well, so I don't play video games very often, but I got invited over by a neighbor the other day to play, it's a video game, it's called Halo something. It's got Halo and a number. It's, I don't know. What? Excuse me, what did you just say back there? Okay. That kid yelled out a number, and you literally laughed harder for that than you did at anything that I've said. I don't know who you are, but I hate you. And given the chance, I will crush you. You turd. You ruined it. You ruined the whole thing. We had something going here, and then you had to, oh, I'm going to one-up the comedian. So show your face. Stand. Where were we? Welcome to the church here. So anyway, my roommate, he invited me over to play like some Halo something game. I'm used to the old games that it was very simple, like back and forth, like Mario, right? But this was like a three-dimensional world, and I didn't know how to cope. And so I pressed a button, and I wanted to just look around and walk around and see what was going on. But my guy didn't walk anywhere. He just looked up like this. So basically, I'm just bird watching. Some stranger runs up and shoots me with a rocket launcher. What kind of twisted world do you punish bird watchers with rocket launchers? He named his character Old Age, so on the screen it said, "You've been killed by old age." What? All right, thank you for that. Thank you. There's basically, ladies, here's a fact that I don't know, maybe you know. There's basically two types of men in the world. There are the men who start to go bald and they embrace it, like Michael Jordan. He just lets it go. And then there's the other type of man who is a certain age and he will do anything in his power to make it look like he's not going bald. And he'll spend a lot of money. Like I used to have a roommate who did not have much hair, and he used to get jail and he'd spike the few hairs that he did have. Looks like Gideon's army. There's only about 300 of them up there, but they got a lot of attention. My cousin uses Rogaine. This is true. He woke up in the middle of the night with a sore throat, and he reached in the dark for his throat spray, but he accidentally grabbed the Rogaine. He's still bald. But his throat looks like Chewbacca. If you're ever up in a balcony, look down and see if you can find somebody who has a comb over. From above, his head will look like a big shiny barcode. So if you have a comb over and you are in Target, you better not bend over in the self-checkout aisle. Screen says half off.
Like, reality is pretty funny.
Right. Insults, I don't like the insults one, though, because I feel like it offends and hurts people's feelings. And I mean,
If you're a jokester, they can get over
yourself.
Yeah,
You don't insult the other people.
Oh, right. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I'm okay with little insults that they're in on the... Like, if there's a bald person who knows he's bald, and he's okay with bald, he's been bald for 20 years, and everybody else has already made fun of him for being bald, I'm okay for pointing out that he's bald, because that's like, it's all fun. You know, if somebody points out that I look like, you know, Forrest Gump, I'm used to that, you know,
Or maybe that you can't tie your shoes.
I can't. What the
They're
heck?
not wearing shoelaces.
You're not wearing shoes.
I forgot about that. You can't tie your shoes.
I'm capable of tying my
What?
shoes, guys.
Wait, hold on. We gotta test this theory.
Are you capable of lacing?
I'm not gonna wear your shoe if that's what you're asking.
No, tie my shoe.
This seems so demeaning. Is this part of the insult thing that you were talking about?
No, I don't.
You gotta tie the shoe now. You gotta prove that you can tie a shoe.
Then go. Okay, well, now your shoe.
Take that, homeboy. Get that out, buddy.
Okay, that backfired.
I am man. And I was just walking down the road, minding my own business, and I was licking on the ice cream, and a stranger comes up. I'd never seen this guy. He said, "Hey, man, I like them shoes you're wearing." I was like, "Well, thank you." And what I did was important. I licked my ice cream, and I looked him in the eye, and then I turned my back. Like in Alabama, that's social code for I don't want to talk to you no more, right? But this guy was from Georgia. And so he was like, wait. where'd you get those shoes from? I said, I got them from Just for Feet shoe store in Birmingham, Alabama. And I started to turn away again. He was like, wait. What size shoe do you wear? Well, for one thing, that's none of his business. But I try to be a nice guy, so it was like, I wear a size 12. Well, so he said, and I quote, well, you care if I try them on? I was ready for some messages in life. Like, I was ready for, do you want some drugs? No. Do you want some drugs? No. Hey, stranger, can I try on your shoes? I don't really, okay. So I took off my left shoe, and he put it on. So he's looking down. He's wearing one of my shoes and one of his shoes, and I'm wearing one of my shoes in the sock. And he was like, well, you want to try mine on? I was like, why not? Well, I'll tell you why not, because it's stupid. That's why. So I'm wearing one of his shoes and one of mine. He's wearing one of mine and one of his. And when he had my shoes on, he was like, man, this is a good-looking shoe. I was like, well, you couldn't tell that. Why did you have to try on to tell that? I don't know. So he was like, well, I'll trade you if you want to trade. Well, listen here. I will maybe try on somebody's shoes at their beck and call, but I'm not necessarily going to trade for keeps because that's a permanent transaction. So I was like, I don't know, let me just take a 10-minute walk in both of your shoes, and you take a walk in mine, and I'll meet you back here at the bench in like 5-10 minutes. And he was like, okay. So I took a walk, and it was like cotton between my toes. It was like I was walking on air. It was so comfortable. So I came back to the bench, and he was still sitting there. And he was like, well, did you think about it? I was like, yeah. He said, what do you want to do? I said, let's do this thing. So if anybody asks if I've ever walked a mile in somebody else's shoes, I'm like, I've walked lots of miles in somebody else's. I have a kind of long neck. I don't know if you can notice, but somebody told me if I wear a turtleneck, it looks like I have a regular sized neck growing out the top of the turtleneck. I have fuzzy arms, fuzzy man arms, and they're great, but my wife, she bought me a nice gift, and I appreciate it, but it pulled my arm here. It hurt pretty bad, so when she wasn't looking, I did the only logical thing. I shaved a 3-inch bald band around my left arm. When she noticed, she said it looked like a Sasquatch had wrist surgery. So I ended up shaving my entire left arm so I wouldn't look stupid, and when I crossed my arms, it looked like an albino snake was suffocating a fuzzy caterpillar. When I went to work, I kind of liked it because when we had a vote, I just raised both my hands. Everybody thought it was two different people. I guess it's been, good grief, I don't know, 12 years I've been a high school teacher. Now, do we have any teachers in the room tonight? So, they are exhausted. So, one thing I've noticed is teenagers are like sharks. This is true. Like, this is a scientific fact. Sharks, you're more likely to be struck by lightning than to be bit by a shark, right? Did y'all know that? Same with teenagers. You're more likely to be struck by a teenager than bit by a teenager. But it's close. They could go either. And sharks can do an amazing thing. This is true. Sharks can smell one drop of blood from 2 miles away. But teenagers, I think, can do something more amazing. They can psychologically scar their school teacher until he goes into an emotional shell of himself and finds himself doing research on things like, hey, what can the shark smell? This is true. So this started about 7.5 years ago. A guy sitting about where you are in my class on the front, on the right. His name was Josh. He, out of the blue, I don't know why he asked this. He said, Mr. Cox, do you like corn? I was like, no, I don't care for it. I wish I did. I just don't care for it. And he said, oh, you don't like corn, huh? So for the rest of the day, he sat there and talked about corn for like an hour, just because he knew that it bothered me a little bit. So the next day or two, him and his table of friends talked exclusively about corn for the entire class. And then they started mispronouncing words on purpose. And it would be like, I'd get to work early and they'd say, Mr. Cox, good corning. I was like, what did you say? Before I knew it, it had spread like a germ after about a month. And every student in every class would not shut up about corn. It started bothering me more and more. They started using Photoshop. And so the one kid took a picture of me and replaced my head with an ear of corn. And then they typed out corn on the cocks. You clapping for that? The one girl, she took a picture of me and she gave me in Photoshop a unibrow, but it was a unibrow made out of little kernels, you know. Everybody started calling me unicorn. I walked out on the front porch of my house one morning early, and there was a dang ear of corn right there on where I live, not at school. How do they know where I live? And there was a message beside it. I opened it up and said, this is just the beginning. I'm like, what? So it really started to bother, and it would make me very uncomfortable. So I went and I told my principal where I work, and he said, Mr. Cox, I don't care what those teenagers say. Of all the teachers here, I think you're the cream of the crop. What? I'm not making it, okay, here's just a few examples. I don't even necessarily always spit them out, but I'm going to. So I go to a theater. They're handing out programs, right? The girl who's handing out programs hands me one, and she's like, corn? I don't even know you. Right? It's a one-word conversation with a stranger. I go to Publix to check out, like, I want to get some Cocoa Puffs or something like that. I'm checking out, there's a bag, boys, like, I think you forgot something. It's a can of corn. I do not know this person. Parents will come up to me. I get gifts. They will give me gifts of, like, there's a mug that says corn on it. Who is the target audience for this mug? And why didn't you just buy me a gift card like you did the other school teachers? I used to be in a motorcycle gang. That's not a joke, dude. Life has taken its twists and turns, and recently I had to trade in my Harley for a large gray minivan. My old tag said hog. My new tag says hippo. I told my wife I tried to hint. I told her I missed the revving of the engine and the wind in my face, and she bought me a leaf blower. I'm also an artist. A lot of people don't know that, but whenever people find out I'm an artist, about 9 times out of 10, they'll come up and they'll say, oh, you're an artist? I cannot even draw a stick man. Like, that's their joke. That's not funny, right? So I started wondering, they say it all the time, what do these people say when they meet somebody with a different profession? Like, hello, sir, what is your name again? Justin? It's nice to meet you. And what do you do for, oh, you're an accountant? Great. I cannot even count a stick man. Hello, ma'am, how are you doing? What is your name? Peggy, nice to meet you. You'll get your turn in a minute. Could you just... I'm going to have to start that introduction all over now. So, hey, so your name is Peggy, right? Oh, great. Oh, so you're a professional acupuncturist. Very good. I cannot even stick a stick man. Hello there. How are you? What's your name? Hi there, fart noise. I'd hate to lose you in the airport. Come here, we're all... Hello, what's your name again, sir?
Trey.
Trey. Oh, and you're a congressman. Congratulations. I could do that. My best friend in high school, his name was Timmy Bagwell, and this actually happened in about the 8th grade. When we were in 8th grade, he was about a head taller than all the rest of us, and he was real athletic, but he couldn't dunk because he was an 8th grader, right? And so he was like, Clayburn, will you hold this chair for me? And I'm going to run, and I'm going to jump, and I'm going to dunk the basketball. And I was like, yeah, I will. And I meant it at the time, but... when he turned to get a running start, I became tempted. And so it was almost like the little devil and angel that you see on cartoon shoulders. And the angel was like, now, Clayburn, he's your best friend. You should hold that chair. I was like, that's a good, valid point. Thank you for that. But the dark side was like, I wonder what would happen if you jerked that chair away. I was like, I don't know. So Tim, he's back at half court, and each step he takes gets bigger and faster and more athletic. And I'm still torn. And the whole time, Tim, he's keeping his eye on the chair because he wants to make sure I hold it for him. And I guess he got maybe 2 steps away, and he finally trusted me, I guess, because he quit looking at the chair, and he looked up at the goal. And about then, I remembered how Lucy would jerk the chair away from Charlie Brown with a football when he tried to kick it, and he seems to be okay. And so I was like, well, so Tim, he's looking at the goal now, and the last step is not going to be a regular step. It's going to be like an athletic pounce. But it's not going to be from the ground. It's going to be from like 1.5 feet off the ground. The only problem were the chair were not there. And Tim went from vertical, floom, to horizontal faster than anything I've ever seen. He laid there and moaned for, I don't know, 10 minutes. I fell down left. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. I wouldn't do that again. I'm not encouraging young people. If you do that, you are stupid. Don't do that. The point of this is when Tim, he put his faith in me to hold the chair, and I was not a reliable object for him to put his faith in. It hurt him. You know, I hurt him because he put his faith in me. When it comes to the end of our life, there's only one reliable object, according to what the Bible teaches, to put our faith in, and that's Jesus Christ alone. And I've got a great-grandfather who's been a pastor for 50 years, something like that. He's great. He can't get me to heaven. I'm a member of a great Bible-preaching church. It's wonderful. Can't get me to heaven. The only reliable object for me to put my faith in is Jesus alone. I'm not here to preach. This is not the night for that. But I will say, if you're interested in not what I say, but what the Bible says about how you can go to heaven, you could go to my website, click the About Me, and just read what does the Bible say about that. So there's that. My daughters are wonderful, and I do love them very much. And they're crazy as bats. I taught them the story about... So I taught them the story about David and Goliath. And I picked up their little blankie, and I twirled it around like a slingshot, and I told them, you know, that David killed Goliath. And so they didn't say anything for like an hour. I was about to walk out the door to go do a show, and my oldest daughter came up. She said, "Daddy, don't go." And I said, "Baby, I got to go. I got to go do a show." She picked up her blankie and walked up to me. She said, "I will kill you." That is not the message I intended to convey with that Bible story. Okay, there's a plan for every show, and hopefully things go basically according to plan. However, that never ever happens. And then, but you know, if you do comedy, hopefully you're generally a funny person, and there's some reason why you probably started doing comedy, and so you just have to improvise a little bit and change modes, and you know, don't just talk in front of them, but talk to them and find some connection or something. You just have to kind of go into what makes you you, I think, at that point.
You guys excited about the political season? Yes. Okay, that's nobody. Nobody? It sounds like moans and cries. I tell you guys, I'm excited about the political season, but I'd be more excited, just go with me on this, if President George W. Bush could be a part of these debates. Just because I'd love to hear him tell us his plan for ISIS. President Bush, what's your plan to deal with the eradication of ISIS? I'm happy to tell you. Yeah, my plan is to ask Donald Trump to swim out to the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, dive to the bottom, and pull the plug. I'm going to have him do the same thing over in the Pacific Ocean. Yeah. You see, what this will do is it'll drain all the water out of the oceans. And then the terrorists can't swim over to get us. It's an ambitious plan. Yeah. But we face a determined enemy. I believe America will prevail and continue to be great. From land to shining land. Go get him, Trumpy. Okay, you guys have been phenomenal. Thank you so much. We're going to keep the comedy rolling.
That's not part of the show.
Thanks.
It's not that kind of show.
How you doing there?
I don't know.
This is something Clayburn and I want to do. Clayburn and I have got to do a lot of comedy shows together, and something we like to do for you guys tonight. We have a lot of random thoughts that have no real place in our show or society. So what we like to do sometimes is combine those with music, make it a little more palatable. This is something we call the joke medley, and we hope you enjoy it, but we're really not counting on it. Want to kick us off there, Clay?
Oh. I was just waiting. Oh, yeah, I can do it. Okay. Well, thinking about Taco Bell. Does thinking about Taco Bell give you a brain fart?
As a kid in gym class, I think my favorite game was Red Rover, come separate my shoulder.
They say red touching yellow will kill a fella. That's why I do not ever plan to hang out with Ronald McDonald.
I think the slogan for Imodium AD should be, do yourself a solid.
The other day, I took my daughter to the neighborhood playground, and she said, "Today was the best day of my life." Well, I sure wasted a lot of money at Disney World.
After seeing my doctor open a Capri Sun, I hope I never need an emergency tracheotomy.
When I was growing up, I did not need an imaginary friend because I had a dog. He was a two-headed flying dog. His name was Skippy, and he pooped happiness.
I had a resolution last year to lose 80 pounds, but it was way too hard. So this year, my New Year's resolution was to stand next to fatter people.
If I was Miley Cyrus's grandmother, I would probably ignore people until they referred to me as Nana Montana.
I was really nervous about trying steroids. But Lance Armstrong assured me, it's just like riding a bike.
When I was growing up, my house had poison ivy growing all over it, and my dad used to trim it from the front, but he did not care. He just left it in the back. It literally looked like my house had a mullet.
I hate when somebody uses the phrase, that's not really my cup of tea. Because I realize I've just poisoned the wrong person.
I only came prepared with 6 jokes for this.
Well, Clayburn Cox, ladies and gentlemen.
Other teachers get an apple or a gift card. I get this. Who's the target audience for this? Who do they make these for? And who buys these things? Well, I'll tell you who. People like 50 years ago who are the grandparents of my teenagers. And then my teenagers, when they want to give me a gift, is this. What is this? I used to teach for my very first year at the high school. I taught ceramics, and that's not my thing. I teach graphic design, but for the first year, they asked me to teach ceramics. I do not know how to teach ceramics, and so for a year, I just kind of said, like, let's make a mug, and every day. So this one particularly lazy kid, he worked extra hard one day. He worked long and hard, and he made this contraption. I did not know what it was, but it looked cool, and so I picked it up in front of the class. I was so proud, and I was like, class, this is the pot of the day. And I gave him a pack of cheese crackers, because in my class, that's like the best thing that you could get. So, no, they were like the Ritz brand and the Kraft cheese. It wasn't like generic cheese crackers. So my teacher aide came in later, and he was like, Mr. Cox, you know what this thing is, right? I was like, yeah, man, that's the pot of the day. Way too many of y'all already know. I rewarded him in front of the whole class with cheese crackers for the pot of the day. Boy, he ate those cheese. He probably had the munchies. My job, here's my message is don't do drugs. I don't do drugs. I don't have any type of drug, completely drug-free. I don't like the thought of drugs. I don't like the thought of that. So I'm not saying you should do them. I don't think that you should. But that's a true story. It's pretty funny. I want to be a narcotics officer. One time, this is absolutely... I paid you to be the MC of this thing. So my thing is, I think I would like to come into a classroom. The narcotics officer, they dress up and they act like a teenager. They establish lots of relationships with teenagers. They catch whoever it is that's selling drugs. I feel like after 12 years of hanging out with teenagers, I could do that. Practice would be, hello, fellow teenagers like me. My name is Hunter Slade Teenager. Who here has some crack? School teachers are such a drag, am I right? I can't even deal with them. I can't even deal. Do you know anyone who does deal? You gotta be subtle about it. My daughters, I'll go ahead and tell y'all this. My daughters are wonderful, and I love them very much. Hey, let's see, you right there. I need one more person to volunteer to come and hold the mic. Give a big hand for the lady right back there who's grinning. Come on up. She's going to hold the microphone. We're going to do one last thing. How about that? Hey, thank you. Here, just hold this. I'm going to do a little. So, my daughters are wonderful. They're back at home, and I wrote this little song that I like to sing to him sometimes. After this, I'm going to get out of here, and you guys, thank you for coming. I hope you have a great night. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm, he had a random conglomeration of arbitrary vowels, E-I-E-I-O. With an E here and an I there, another E, another I, then comes a random O. Old MacDonald had a phonics problem, E-I-E-I-O. He probably went to the University of Alabama. And on that farm he had a bird, E-I-E-I-O, with a here and a there, here, there. It must have been like a penguin or something. And on that farm he had, this time it was a flightless bird. It wasn't like a penguin or an ostrich or probably not an emu. It was maybe it could have been a sparrow or like some type of song or a dove, or maybe one of even the little blue speckled bird, E-I-E-I-O. With a here and a there, here, there. It was a dead bird. And on that farm, he had a comedian who still had 22 seconds left to fulfill his contract with a video company. E-I-E-I-O. With a blah, blah here and a blah, blah there. Here, blah, there, blah, everywhere, blah, 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 blah here and a blah, blah there. Here, blah, there, blah, everywhere. Blah, blah here and a blah, blah there. Here, blah, there, blah, everywhere. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E. Hey, thank you. I really do. This is a meanness. I really appreciate it. Because, okay, if we did this, you're not there, it doesn't work out. We can't do it. We cannot make a DVD or a video or whatever this happens to come through TV, whatever. And so, thank you. I do appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. Usually, I'm even much, much, much funnier. Don't ask anybody who's ever come to the show. Just take my word for it. I'm hilarious at other shows.